And people were warning me and saying, wait for the parts where the woman is allowed to be in the middle on the dance floor. And one of my colleagues noticed me saying the Syahadat and was saying, trying to stretch your skin and trying to open your heart like in two pieces. My name is Elizabeth Yakshta. I'm 38 years old. I'm a mother of 3 children and I'm living in Egypt for about 20 years almost. I used to model. I got some money for modeling, for catalogs, for runway shows, and I knew that getting veiled is also closing that option. But I also know how people would look at you if you have some kilos more and you're not good enough for that show and for that photo. So to protect yourself from such judgment, alhamdulillah, Islam is very protective towards women. I decided to get books. One book was Science in Islam, scientists from Harvard and Oxford and non-Muslim scientists speaking about things they found in the Quran and they proved it by science. I don't know why I chose the science book first. I'm a person that needs proof, and they found things in the books. They found how the mountains are stuck in the earth and you would see just the top of it, and how sweet and salt water would be divided in the seas and wouldn't mix, and how an ant is actually having bones out of kind of glass fibers, and how the embryo in the belly of in the womb of a woman would look in the beginning like just a of. And then the biggest miracle of all is how can a book be kept original from that time to today? This is not the same in Christianity. We don't have any other original book that is kept from God with his original word. And it obviously fascinated me. So after I was reading the science book, I said it's time to read the Quran. And I remember how I kept washing about 20-25 minutes before I touched the Quran. I had so much respect for this book, and I started reading Al-Fatiha, our first surah in the Quran, and I remember how I was reading it and 100% sure that this is God talking to me. I actually only finished till half Surah Al-Baqarah before I wanted to take my Shahada and I wanted to be a Muslim. And people were warning me and saying, wait for the parts where the woman is allowed to be and where the ugly parts are coming. I was 100% sure there would be explanations and reasons. So I wrote down on a little paper the Shahada. I didn't know a word of Arabic by then, and I had no idea why I thought that I had to be able to memorize those words. However, I thought that I had to have those words memorized and say them memorized from my heart. I was struggling to say those words, and it took about 2 weeks. And I remember that evening where my colleagues convinced me of leaving the room. They convinced me to go out and took me with them to a nightclub. It was actually one of the top nightclubs ranked in the world. And they just were able to convince me. So I joined the group and I was in that nightclub. I said it actually with a loud voice in the middle on the dance floor. And one of my colleagues noticed me saying the Syahadat and was saying, what are you doing here? You cannot say such words on a dance floor. Leave. Go away. He didn't mean to say those words somewhere else. So I took my consequences and I just left the place. And yes, you're right. I should remove myself from this place, and I didn't crave going back to it. And so when I said my Shahada, I was imagining a firework to come from the sky or someone saying, finally you are with us. Nothing of that happened. It wasn't in a movie. It was just me alone on this dance floor and on my own, and I realized how alone I am and how I'm lost and how I'm not belonging to anyone and how I don't have anyone and how I don't have any support system and how I'm just alone in this. So for me it was quite sad. Actually, I had a very magical moment. The light goes off and I cannot pray, and I'm going down and I'm putting my hands on the floor and my head on the floor, and I cry to God and ask him to please help me to say those words without a paper in my hand, without needing light, and make it easy for me. I felt struggling and it took me so much effort. I stood up and I was saying all the words by myself. Light is off, I can't use my paper, and I was just able to say the words. And I knew that I said them right. I knew that I didn't miss a word. I knew that I said it perfect. And a physical pain happened in my heart that I couldn't stand. I still, till today, remember that pain. It's like somebody by force trying to stretch your skin and trying to open your heart like in two pieces. I heard from our seerah how he got his imam in his heart. He was a little child. He was out with the sheep, and he was like behind some trees, and the angel Jibril came to him and put physically the iman into his heart. And when I heard that story, I was sure that this is what happened to me in that night in Ramadan. It's, you can't prove it. No scientist can prove it for me. But I'm 1% sure that this happened to me. I didn't tell my family direct. I was also not that connected to them, and I didn't call anyone. I didn't tell anyone. I wanted to do this on my own. Looking back, I feel that I had the purest connection with God at that time. As if, like, I never felt as supported as by then, because God just felt how I'm so alone. None of them understood what's happening. And I get it, with all those misconceptions we have about Islam and all the bad examples around us. I totally understand if somebody is not happy for you or positive for you and actually gets worried. So after I converted to Islam, I realized that even if I lose my family, if I lose my siblings, if I'm misunderstood by my husband, worst case scenario, I would even get divorced, there's something that I would never lose. And that is that I will get treated fair with all my intentions, with all my good deeds, with every smile I gave to someone. I will be judged fairly, and I'm not needing to be treated right in this life. So I think the biggest difference between Christianity and Islam is that I feel that I got so much more proof for what I'm doing, and I got answers for every situation in my life. And I felt that when I was reading the Bible, I got more of historical stories. However, I was finding a lot of misunderstandings, also different versions. This is obviously a mistake. So we don't have mistakes in the Quran, and we don't have, different versions of things. And a very clear guideline of how a society should be managed, of how people should live, what is the purpose in life, what is the hereafter. It's described in details, what to expect when we're dead. What I love the most about our Prophet ﷺ is how he was treating children. How he would make a prayer shorter if a baby was crying. How we know from our hadith that his grandkid would jump over him while he's praying, and he would give him or the child the chance to play. And when the need of that child is fulfilled, he would finish his prayer. This is something we have in children's psychology today. The needs of children and the comfort of children. In those age, our Prophet ﷺ already showed us how to be merciful with children. I think if our Prophet ﷺ would enter the door, I wouldn't say anything. I think I would ask him something. I would ask, what did you mean by this and that? And I would ask for advice. I would ask for guidance. But maybe if I would have a chance to tell him something, I would tell him, you were worried about the Ummah not to get the religion, but actually this is the fastest growing religion today in the world. The most people that convert to Islam are female. So alhamdulillah.